At the beginning of every year, it's important to review and adjust your investing strategy based on the latest trends and risks in the market. And 2025 is no exception, as we have to deal with elevated interest rates, rising unemployment, natural disasters, public policy shifting from progressive to aggressive, geopolitical conflict, UFOs. What a time to be alive. So to help you stay focused, optimized, and optimistic about the future, I made this video to show you how I'm personally investing in 2025. But first, I want to get you up to speed on my style of investing, how I did in 2024, and how that will tie into my strategy for the next year to come. For 2024, my primary focus was to max out my 401k contributions and to rent out 2 properties that I acquired in 2023 that needed some initial repairs and maintenance before we could get tenants in them. Unfortunately, though, I messed up the timing with my 401k contributions, and as a result, I came up short of the $23,000 maximum for the year by about $1,500. But excluding my deposits for the year, I made about a 31% return, which is pretty good in my opinion, and it's about 6% higher than the S&P 500. While I'm not trying to beat the market by that much every year, I did make some adjustments to the investments in my 401k based on what I was seeing in the market last year. I won't bore you with the details of those investments for this video, but I did make a video a few weeks ago about how to pick the best investments for your 401k. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link to that in the description below. On the real estate side, I ended the year with 3 out-of-state rental properties that bring me monthly income almost completely passively. But as I mentioned, 2 of them I purchased in 2023, and they did need some initial repairs and maintenance to get them ready for the Section 8 housing program. In total, these properties brought in $28,925 in gross rents, $13,888 in total expenses, and $15,037 in net income. However, I also paid $23,617 in mortgage payments, leaving me with $8,580 in negative cash flow, which sounds pretty terrible at first, but keep in mind that a lot of the expenses throughout the year were getting those 2 properties ready to rent, and those 2 properties weren't rented out and generating income until about halfway through the year. To give you an idea of what these properties look like now that they're rented out, I like to look at the last 3 months of the year, which is a much more typical period that I'll be expecting for these properties moving forward. In total for that period, these properties brought in $9,900 in gross rents. I had to pay about $1,752 in total expenses for a net income of $8,148. And after the $6,012 in mortgage payments, that worked out to about $2,316 in cash flow, which works out to about $712 per month. And to give you a sense of my return on investment on these properties, I typically put in about $25,000 to $35,000, or an average of about $30,000 per property. And my cash on cash return, which is a real estate metric, which is just how much cash you're getting out per year compared to the amount of cash that you put in to begin with, is about 10%. And while this is a little bit lower than my target return of about 15%, unlike other landlords, I prefer to keep my rents at or slightly below market, and I also prefer to address all repairs promptly with high quality materials. While this means that my ROI is a little bit less than it otherwise could be, my philosophy is that being a good real estate investor is even more rewarding when you care about the people and businesses inside your units and not just how much money you can squeeze out of them. And aside from my 401k and real estate investments, I do also manage a handful of family accounts invested in individual stocks, and the goal for these accounts is to beat the market over the long term. And I'm happy to say that in 2024, we earned a 41% return, which is 15% higher than the S&P 500. In fact, going all the way back to 2016, which is when we opened the accounts, we've been able to grow them at about 16.9% per year, which is higher than just about every index and hedge fund manager over the same time frame, and that's with a beta score of 0.95. If you aren't familiar with beta, it's just a way to measure risk compared to a benchmark, in this case, the S&P 500. Less than 1 means you're taking less risk than that benchmark, more than 1 is more risk, and if your beta is 1, that means you're taking about the same amount of risk as the benchmark. And the reason I'm mentioning all this is because we're getting a much better return than the market over the last 9 years while being less risky than just investing in the S&P 500. So now that you know more about my style of investing and how I did in 2024, let's tie this into my strategy in 2025 and the 3 key areas that I'm focusing on. The first theme that I'm focusing on in 2025 is that I want to increase my investments in real estate. This might sound a little counterintuitive at first because, as you know, home prices are at all-time highs, interest rates on mortgages are elevated, and these all sound like negatives for real estate investing. And while that might seem true for the industry as a whole, I personally have seen a lot of success investing in affordable housing, also known as Section 8 real estate. If you're interested in learning how to invest in Section 8 real estate, I am planning on making a whole series of videos on that in the future, so make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on those. But in the meantime, I do want to share with you just 3 key reasons why I like these investments so much. The first reason is that these properties are typically under $100,000, which means you only need around $25,000 or so to get started. Number 2 is that these rents are subsidized by the government, which results in much more reliable monthly income. And the third reason, which is my favorite, is that each one of these deals cash flows pretty much from the moment that a tenant moves in. So for 2025, my real estate goal is to double the amount of properties that I own, so that would be going from 3 to 6. And as luck would have it, I actually found 2 that I'm in the process of purchasing, so I might have to increase that goal a little bit. The second area that I'm focusing on in 2025 is that I want to invest less in ETFs and mutual funds and more in individual stocks. You see, for the last few years, I've mostly invested in ETFs and mutual funds because I felt like there wasn't a lot of opportunity in finding undervalued stocks. This year, however, I think that that's going to change, and the reason I think that is because as more investors get distracted by big tech companies like the Mag 7 and other popular investments like cryptocurrency, I think now is the perfect time to look for smaller or lesser known companies that are trading at attractive prices relative to their earnings. In fact, I just made a video last week where I showed that 2 of the top 5 performing stocks in the S&P 500 last year were companies that were trading at low valuations in early 2024, and they went on to more than double in price in 2025. And the third area that I want to focus on in 2025 is my own personal finances. That's because while investing is important, if you don't have a strong foundation, then it could all come crashing down like a house of cards. For me, that means maxing out my contributions to my 401k, building an emergency savings of around 6 months worth of expenses, paying down as much consumer debt as possible, and making sure that I have good insurance in place. As I'm filming this video, there are terrible fires that are raging throughout parts of California, including the area that I was born and raised in, and it's been a really painful reminder that truly anything can happen, which is why in 2025, I want to focus just as much on financial stability as investing. So to recap, 2024 was a great year in the markets and for our investments, and based on those learnings and current market dynamics, I want to focus on doubling down in real estate, switching from ETFs to active stock picking, and I want to focus on shoring up my own personal finances in 2025. If you're looking to learn more about investing in stocks, real estate, or building a strong personal finance foundation, you can either subscribe to the channel to catch more future videos like this one, or if you have some time right now, you can continue learning with this video here. Either way, I hope you found this video helpful, and I will see you in the next one.